Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Saad. We're on Pitch Talk on Inspire FM, and this is the second part of the interview with Aatif Nawaz, as we will be discussing light-hearted questions, have a bit of banter and some fun segments. So my next question is that there are many talented and skillful players out there. Who's a young cricketer that we should all keep an eye on, would you say?
There's so many you should keep an eye on. These days in England, in particular, I quite like the look of Rocky Flintoff, actually, who's Andrew Flintoff's son. He's a very, very good player, and he's very exciting to watch. And he's, you can see his father's influence on his game as well. It's very, very exciting to watch. So Rocky Flintoff is definitely one that I keep an eye on. In Pakistan, I think Sufyan Muqimi's already shown some glimpses of what he's capable of doing. I think he's going to achieve big things with Pakistan in the future as well. In India, there's a brand new player called Priyansh Arya, who I really like. He's fantastic opening batter, really, really good, really, really talented left-handed opening batter. I really love watching him bat, very elegant and still very destructive. And well, that's a few names there, but there's just so many. Like modern cricket, it's like a conveyor belt. There's so many players popping out from everywhere, and they've played some crazy innings where they score 100 or 40 balls somewhere in the world, and then you're like, okay, who was this guy? Let's find out more about this guy. So there's so many players to keep an eye on.
So if you could build your dream 11 from any era, who would make the cut?
You want me to give you 11 names now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, this is a very
answer here, haven't I?
No, it's not that. It's just a long. You've decided to let me bat on a 5-day wicket, and I'm trying to decide if I want to bash fast or if I just want to take my time with this. So, there's so many great opening batters. If you want to do it in order, opening batters that I loved over the years, I'd probably open with Virender Sehwag. I'd probably put in Saeed Anwar alongside him. I'd probably put in Lara. I'd have Kohli. We'd probably go Tendulkar, but I'd rather go Kohli than Tendulkar. What's that? 4 great all-rounders. I'd probably go Imran. 5 is quite high for Imran, actually, but I think he was quite a good batter towards the end of his career. So let's go Imran Khan at 5. At 6, let's go another all-rounder. Let's go Lance Klusner, a player I really liked. 7, let's go Sean Pollock. I don't have a keeper yet, do I? I'm going to need a keeper in there as well. Who was my favorite keeper? I really like Jack Russell, old school keeper. Let's go Jack Russell for an old school keeper. And I'm putting Graham Hick in there as well because it's my 11, so why not? I'll put him up the order a little bit. I'll shift it a bit. Lara can come in at 4. It's fine. Kohli can come in at 5. It's fine. And then we'll go Wasim, Bakar. I can't separate the pair of them. Shane Warne and Glenn McGrath. There you go. How's that for an 11?
Yeah, that's an amazing 11. So that completes the first part of the interview. So we'll get into the second part shortly after a breather.
Right, give me 20 seconds and I'll run downstairs because I think the camera.
Bro, will you give me 2 minutes?
He knows that he's talking.
Okay.
So just.
Can
you just have?
Yeah, thanks.
Hello, brother. We'll just have a bit of a break and then we'll move on to the second part, inshallah.
Give me 2 minutes, yeah?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's the first part done. Yeah, 3 minutes. Yeah.
So how'd that go for you?
I think it was okay.
Yeah, that's great. So, how are you going to introduce the second part?
So, we spoke about the first part where we got into a bit of his cricket commentating career. Now we'll get into a bit of comedy, a bit of banter and fun questions. So I'm just worried
it's always you've got to don't go into
Yeah, I hope I have enough questions. That's the thing.
Was this over 25 minutes? It seemed like it had.
Yeah, I think it was because I started at 12 or 14, and now it's we finished at 41. Okay.
Because he's only got an hour with us,
Yeah.
so you've got to kind of like reduce.
So what time should we finish? Would you say it's 43 now? We'll probably start 45, 46. So
Okay.
what time?
11:05.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's that?
just like 'cause
Also, you need an outro for that because that was not a very good outro. You need to be
Yeah.
like, because it's going to run next week, isn't
Yeah.
it? So you need to be like, join us next week, where we'll get into more of his career or whatever. I don't know what you're gonna
yeah, so we can record that. Yeah.
record
So-
that now.
Record that now, and then.
It's fine. You can do it now.
So what should I say now? Join us next week for part 2 of the interview. Is that
So
what?
join us now, part 2 of the interview where we get into the nitty-gritty
Yeah.
of whatever. I don't know what next
Yeah.
show is, so you just need to.
So join us now for part 2 of.
Join us next week.
Join us next week for part 2 of the cricket interview with Aatif Nawaz, where we discuss comedy, banter, and fun questions.
So,
Unless you want to add something else in.
I think you should send more fun questions because the questions were fun. You don't want to like. Okay, it's bad, but we can do that.
So welcome back. We're here for the second part of the interview, where we'll be discussing a bit of comedy, banter, and fun questions. We've got with us Aatif Nawaz, the BBC cricket commentator, actor, and comedian. So my question to you, brother, is that if you had to commentate a board meeting like it's a cricket match, how would you do that?
I don't know. I don't really get invited to any board meetings. You know, I don't think I've ever been in a board meeting for anything. I've been to board game meetings, but I've never been to a board meeting. You know, just that's one of the perks of being a stand-up comic. You never have to go to any board meetings. You know what I mean? Your board meeting is your crowd, and you can just perform. You know what I mean?
So let's say, for example, if you were traveling to, if you're going to Asda on a Sunday, and you are looking for some parking, how would you describe that in a commentary if all the parking was full, for example?
Oh, I probably not radio friendly the way I'd speak. Allah forgive me. Like I'd probably drop a lot of language that isn't appropriate. But I, you know, I don't know if you were following me on Sunday because I did struggle to find parking at Asda on Sunday. I was trying to find parking for ages and circled and circled. But yeah, it was all right. Like, you know, how would I describe it? How would I commentate it? Like, okay, like, you know, he's looking for a gap. There's no gaps. He's, you know, there's this very tight field here in this Asda car park. Really struggling to, oh, there's a gap. He's found the gap. There we go. He's found a parking spot. He's ready to go now. Something like that, I think.
That's amazing. Do you ever catch yourself using cricket lingo in everyday conversations?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. When I'm talking to my wife, for example, you know, like, you know, she'll be like, you know, like, if she's like talking something, I'm like, leave it. You should leave that. You should not speak to that person or whatever. I say I will not respond or not get involved in a point. I'll always say something like, just leave that outside the off stump, man. Just leave that outside the off stump. Like I'll say so many cricket lingo things all the time. You know, it's just part of the way I speak now. And what's funny is sometimes I'm speaking to people who have no interest or knowledge of cricket, and I'll still say things like, just leave that outside the off stump. Yeah, I think a lot of cricket fans do that from time to time. It's like playing shadow cricket. Like you'll go into like, anytime you see a bat, you have to pick up a bat and you have to practice batting with a bat. It's just one of those things.
Do you ever sneak a joke into your live commentary? And do you have any examples of any times you've done that?
I don't think I sneak like jokes into it necessarily, but like I do have little funny things that I pre-plan sometimes. So there's a player for New Zealand called Will Young. You know, and Will Young was also a really famous singer in England. You know, a decade ago, he had a song called "Leave Right Now," which was really famous. "Leave Right Now" was a really famous song in England. So every time I'm on commentary and Will Young gets out, I have to try and get the phrase "leave right now" into the commentary. You know, I'm like, well, he was batting really well, but he's going to have to leave right now. And then people who get it, get it. What I discovered recently, because I was commentating with Tim Southey, who's, you know, a New Zealand legend. And Incidentally, it was a New Zealand match. It was Pakistan versus New Zealand in Karachi, and I was commentating on it. And he was there, and I made the joke, and everybody else in the commentary box was laughing or giggling or whatever. And then he was like, I don't get it. What is that? And then I realized that Will Young, the singer, has no footprint in New Zealand. Like, New Zealand has no idea they know who Will Young, the cricket player, is. They have no idea who the singer is. So every time I make that joke, it goes right over their heads. But people, like, like there's little jokes like that are really just for me, a little bit of fun, just to add a bit of humor, a bit of lightness to what can be a long day of cricket commentary sometimes.
So if you could commentate on a wedding, what would the highlight moment sound like?
Oh, you know what? I just stay as quiet as I possibly can at weddings, like I just got married. So, I just try and I get a little bit more emotionally invested at weddings. You feel happy for the couple and things like that. I don't even know if I could try and commentate that. The way to commentate is to leave it outside the off stump. You leave it outside the off stump.
So what's the most accidental joke you've ever made on air?
The most accidental joke on air. Well, there was a time where I accidentally, as I was coming in to commentate, stepped on my colleague's foot. So, like, just as you're switching over, because like you have these stints, right? Like you're on for like 20 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. And then you switch over with the other person while the other person is talking and the mic is live. So as I switched over to come back in, I put my foot on the other commentator's foot. And he screamed really loudly. You could hear it on the mic. That was quite funny. That was a funny incident.
So when you're writing jokes, is the timing like delivering the perfect cricket shot?
No, you know what? They're both very different crafts. Like writing comedy is probably more scientific than people think. Like you don't just sit there and think of something funny. Like you have to sit there. Like I take my computer and I sit with the intention that I'm going to write comedy. So I try and work out what's happening in the news. What have I been thinking about recently? And you sort of flesh it out. Okay, that's an interesting idea. And then you develop that idea and you write more and you write more and you add things to it. And then you take it to the stage of testing it out. Like you'll go to a show and you'll try out some new material and you'll think, okay, I'll listen back to that. You listen back to it and you think, okay, maybe that bit doesn't work. That word should maybe be this word. Maybe this bit should come first and this bit should come. So it's like writing stand-up comedy is like a huge trial and error, back and forth, like the thing. And like cricket is a bit more different. You can be more reactive. I think in cricket you're reacting, right? So if you're a commentator, you're watching something and you're reacting to it or explaining what's happening or telling the story. Whereas when you're the comedian, you're the person who runs the show. Like you're the person who creates everything. You're the person who's creating the story, who's sharing the story, who's in control, who's running the pace of it, and people are reacting to you. So it's a little bit like it's very actually different, the two crafts, but they're both really fun.
Have you ever mixed stand-up content with commentary content by mistake?
No, I've never done that. Thank God. I don't want to get in trouble. But no, I've never had that kind of overlap. I think that it's natural for people to do that, especially if you're doing both things on the same day. Like as I often do, I often have like matches and gigs on the same day. But Alhamdulillah, I've managed to get into a good routine where my comedy is my comedy and my cricket's my cricket. And I managed to like just keep them compartmentalized separately. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what would your dream cricket comedy 11 look like?
Dream cricket comedy 11. So what do you want? You want cricketers who are funny or comedians who play cricket? Which one do you want?
Maybe a bit of both.
Okay. Let's open the batting with Bill Burr because he's really aggressive. So nice, aggressive opening batter. But you want to partner him with someone who's a little bit calmer. So who's calm these days? Maybe Shazia Mirza, because she's not necessarily calm, but she's more like controlled. So like we'll open with those two, and then we could have a little bit of I might throw Dermot Reeve in there because he was very, very funny and he did really good impressions. People tell me he was really funny all the time. He did a great Imran Khan impression apparently. Who else would we go? I like Omid Jalili. I think he would be my captain. Omid Jalili would be my captain. He's quite funny. He's very funny. One of my heroes actually in the comedy world. And then I'll have Tez Ilyas in there because he's very funny and he's a good cricketer as well. and I throw Ali Official in there as well, just because he's really into his cricket too. And who else do I know? I reckon Prince Abdi's a really good fielder. I'm going to have Prince Abdi in my lineup as well. Yeah, so who else have we got? Rahul Kohli. I reckon Rahul Kohli's quite good. We'll chuck him in there. Who I worked with once, who I was really surprised by his sort of aptitude for the game was Elliot Steele, Mark Elliott's son. In fact, you know what? Let's go Mark Elliott and Elliot Steele. I think the pair of them would be really good. To round out the 11, let's go with Nabil Abdul Rashid, because he doesn't actually like cricket and it would really annoy him, and I think that'd be funny.
What's the weirdest moment you've ever had on air or on the stage?
Weirdest moment on air or on the stage? I think on stage, there've been so many weird moments. I've been doing stand-up comedy for like 20 years now, nearly 20 years of doing stand-up comedy. And there's so many weird moments. I remember being at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival one time performing a show, and like some guy from the crowd just got up onto the stage and took the mic and started telling everybody how awful the Edinburgh Fringe Festival was. And there was no security at this venue or anything like that, so it's not like we could even eject him. We just had to wait for him to finish so he could leave. The Edinburgh Fringe Festival is a bit like that. There's so many crazy things that have happened to me at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival over the years, and I think I'm glad I'm done with it, to be honest with you. Like, I don't really need to go to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival again. I don't think I did 5 years of it. That's enough. But yeah, it's that environment where crazy things happen, but they make for a good story afterwards, So it's not so bad when it happens.
What if you had to commentate a family barbecue? How would that go?
You just want me to commentate on a bunch of like day-to-day things, don't you? Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't think we've ever had a family barbecue, oddly enough. I think we just cook traditionally in my house. Maybe we just don't get the weather for barbecues that often in England. I get the disposable ones. The disposable ones you can get from Asda, which I know you like. You get the disposable ones. You can throw like a few, chicken burgers on there and some shami kebabs on there and things like that. And the buns, you got to toast your buns. That's the secret to a good barbecue. You got to toast your buns. There you go. I think I sort of did do that a bit, cricket style.
What's the funniest bit of fan email or DMs you've ever received?
Yeah, I once got this email from somebody who they actually emailed the BBC to complain that I was using the word momentarily wrong. So they emailed to say, because I would say things like, the bowlers are going to come in momentarily. And they emailed and said momentarily means for a moment, not in a moment. And I was like, all right, that was quite rude, and I'd be quite telling that the brown guy's the guy you want to try and isolate his English language for. But I looked it up just before. I apologized before, but I really should have looked it up before I apologized. I looked it up and I realized that they were wrong and I was right. Momentarily does mean in a moment or for a moment. So I wasn't wrong at all. I get loads of emails like that. People are trying to correct me or my speech or my language. And I quite enjoy it. Like, if I'm wrong, I don't mind being humbled. It's not a problem. But if I'm right, then I really lean into that explanation to them. Where really do your research before you start poking me with the. Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. English teacher.
Let's say a pigeon landed on the pitch mid-over. How would you call that?
That happens a lot. Especially in England. Pigeons are ever present in England, and they land in the pitch all the time. Players usually just wait for a few minutes and then just shoo them away, whatever, just brush them away. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a pigeon get hurt on a pitch. Certainly not in a match that I've commentated. I probably have got hurt before. But yeah, I've never had that. I've never seen that happen. It's never really become a thing.
How would you describe Virat Kohli in 3 words?
Virat Kohli in 3 words. I was going to say one of a kind, but that's 4 words. We'll go with the simple ones. Legendary, record breaker. How's that? Legendary record breaker. There we go, 3 words.
And that brings us to the end of an incredible conversation with the one and only Aatif Nawaz, the comedian, commentator, and all-round legend. From boundary lines to punchlines, you've given us laugh, insight, and inspiration. Thank you so much for joining us on Inspire FM, And to everyone listening, stay inspired, stay curious, and until next